Hi, so my name is Brooklyn and I'll be presenting healthcare, pharmacy, and the environment and why it's important. In 2019, many of us recognize the climate crisis and how everyday consumerism items such as plastic straws and water bottles can impact our planet negatively. It's easy to understand how industries such as food service and retail can impact this, but when you look at the healthcare system and how specific wastes, practices, and medicines can also hurt our environment, it's obvious that not just this is impacted. In this presentation, I will be looking into how many pharmaceuticals impact our environment and why we must pay attention to this, and other ways that the healthcare industry hurts the environment. So first I'm going to talk about water pollution, drug pollution, and how it impacts biodiversity of fish. Issues with this stems from drugs being flushed into toilets, which gets into the waterways, or just being disposed of improperly. That can also cause it to get into waters. But a common way people dispose of their medicine instead of taking it back to the pharmacy is by flushing it. Fish populations can be entirely wiped out by this, and that impacts the biodiversity of our planet. Ethanol estradiol, which is a hormone in birth control pills, is one of the main causes of this. So it can cause fish to have genetic issues, which makes it harder for them to catch food and also harder for them to procreate, which is why it hurts the population and impacts this. It could potentially cause extinction. Next, I'm going to be talking about how hospitals and pharmacies can dispose of plastics differently and why the way they're doing it currently hurts our environment. So, many pharmacies use plastics that are one-use plastics, including pill bottles, needles, and other packaging. 850 million pounds of plastic are thrown away from hospitals in the US alone daily, and 0.2% of this is from medicine and 50% is from packaging. 60% of what is disposed is incinerated, so that will emit carbon and carcinogens into the air. And the other percentage of that is mostly landfilled, which could also cause pollution to get into the ocean and into the streets because a lot of stuff is dropped in the wrong places and not properly disposed of or recycled. And finally, I'm going to be talking about prescription opioids and how they contribute to the opioid crisis, which hurts our environment. So prescription opioids contribute to the opioid crisis because they start an initial dependence and cause patients to seek out illicit opioids. 8 to 12% of patients prescribed become addicted and can develop an opioid use disorder. And needles are commonly used as a way to distribute drugs such as heroin. These needles are single-use products, so that also causes plastics to get into the world, and that's not biodegradable. These consist of plastic compartments that won't break down completely and often pollute our city streets and parks and could even end up in the oceans. The main takeaway from this is that the environment is impacted negatively by many aspects of the world, and that this includes the healthcare and pharmaceutical industry. Looking into solutions such as return programs, biodegradable plastics, and disposal units are the important next steps. Overall, I thought this was important because it is great to see an outlook that's different from what you usually see in the media about the environment and why plastic is bad. Thank you.